So a lot of people are wondering, especially like the Detroit Lions. You know, uh, Dan Miller just put out a tweet and said that the Detroit Lions are going to tag Jahmyr Gibbs, but they're not going to tag Jack Campbell. This is what it really means. Okay, when you look at Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs plays the running back position. Jack Campbell plays the linebacker position. And there's a little bit of discrepancy between how they get paid. So each of these tags is guaranteed to the salary cap. The difference between the two tags is Jahmyr Gibbs' tag will be $14.2 million. That is fully guaranteed and cannot be restructured. That hits next year. Now you would take into account that the Lions, they're not pushing Gibbs' extension down the road. They're just saying that we got 2 more years of control for Jahmyr Gibbs, and it's still an affordable. It's still affordable if they sign an extension. The difference with Jack Campbell is because he made a Pro Bowl. Um, uh, Someone whose fifth year option could be picked up, but because he did, his fifth year option increased from 16 million to nearly 21, 22. As there's some circles that say 23. Now, it does not mean that the Detroit Lions will not pay Jack Campbell. That's not at all what it means. What it means in particular is that Jack Campbell will get a market setting deal that Detroit Lions can ideally control the pay structure where it's not fully guaranteed in 2027. So if you think about it from this perspective, they can finagle the numbers to where, obviously Gibbs is going to get that $14.9 million or $14.2 million. And Jack Campbell is obviously going to get a market setting contract. He's going to get a contract that's going to, when you think about it like this, he's going to get a contract, but it's going to be controllable. The difference between the two and why Jahmyr Gibbs' tag was picked up and Jack Campbell's wasn't was because of that Pro Bowl. Like I have to imagine that if Jack Campbell did not make the Pro Bowl last year, there's a potential that they take on both tags. But because the tag for a linebacker is nearly $22 million, number $23 million, it's because of the cap hit. Like what we have to understand is the cap hit is it stays on there. So, if you had let's say, a guy's making $21 million in a contract, the extension, right? They could say, okay, 13 of it's going to hit the cap, but 21 isn't. And they'll backload it, or they'll pay it in bonuses or whatever the case may be. So when people say, there's going to be a lot of stuff put out there, I just wanted to clear it up. That Jack Campbell, because he not get his extension, not get his tender, does not mean that the Lions are getting rid of him or anything like that. What it does mean is they're trying to find a deal that can make sense on both sides, and I'm sure they'll come to an agreement. Even Dan Miller in his tweet says, with that number near 22 million, they will look to work out a long-term deal that makes sense for both sides. The Lions absolutely consider Campbell part of their plans going forward. This makes more sense under the cap to get a longer deal done versus locking in their fifth year in 2027. Like we said, the cap number for Jack Campbell compared to Jahmyr Gibbs, 22 million, and some people they say it could be 23 million. Depending on how the NFL structures things with the salary cap. So that's why that's happening. So Detroit is going to tag Jahmyr Gibbs on his fifth year option, which means they can still open up a contract negotiation with both of them. They can still negotiate with Jack Campbell, but they're declining the fifth year option for Jack Campbell in hopes to make a deal that works for both sides. And that's the smart move, because if you think about it like this, do you want a $22 million cap hit on a linebacker? Probably not. You could deal with a $14 million cap hit on a running back, but once you get in the $22 million range, that's a lot of money, and it's probably best to work out a deal for both sides to where maybe you can finagle numbers and get the cap hit lower. That's what every team looks at, the cap hit for a specific player a little bit lower. That's what they're trying to do. So we'll have more on the Detroit Lions News podcast page. Follow along for more Detroit Lions Detroit Lions news. And we will see you guys in the next one. This is a JC Sports Detroit YouTube update on Detroit Lions News Podcast.